Mi, 32 m, a housewife to my wife, 43 female. I met my present older wife a couple years ago and it developed into us two only dating each other. We met at our place of employment, a toxic workplace with too many poor leaders. My girlfriend at the time was going to school during the evening, soon moved onto a job she loved. She was the only child and came from a family not rich but at least well off. One day several months ago her last living parent passed away and my girlfriend inherited a fair amount of money. She bought a very nice 4-year-old home sitting on 3 acres in a very nice neighborhood with a golf course. My girlfriend, knowing how much I disliked my job, brought it up that I should quit that job. I told her that she knew I had been looking for a new job, but as of then nothing that could compare close to the salary I was making had opened up. She told me that we both loved each other and with the inheritance she had recently came into that she had been doing a lot of thinking and said I should move in with her and I would never have to work again if I didn't want to. I was taken aback thinking she was being unrealistic, however I did think our relationship was ready to try living together. After more discussion I moved into her home. The first couple of weeks while she was at work I would keep the acre cut and trimmed. I mostly worked outside pulling weeds and anything that needed attention. One evening as we were sitting on her deck, one of our favorite places at the home, she said she would like us to have a little talk. She said although I occasionally vacuumed the floors, she said it would be nice if I did it on a regular basis since she was working. Knowing she was a little bit of a clean freak and not thinking much of it, I told her that would be no problem. Soon I was vacuuming about every other day. She would come home and express thanks and how much my help lessened her load. She then said it really wasn't complete though unless I dusted the days I vacuumed, and I again didn't think too much of it. After my first vacuuming and dusting, when she came home she asked me to walk the house with her. She said she really appreciated me helping out, then she rubbed one of her fingers over a high shelf that I had missed. She just looked at me and said that she knew I would think she was being picky but I really needed to pay more attention. Soon I was dusting and vacuuming up to her standards. One morning soon after she was putting on her makeup as I walked into the bathroom with her makeup counter. She looked at me and I knew something was on her mind. She said that I was doing a good job cleaning but I really should be cleaning the 3 bathrooms. I asked if I was becoming her maid and she laughed saying that she worked and I had time to do it. I knew she had a point and so the bathrooms were put on my duties. Soon thereafter she showed me how she wanted me to wash some of her clothes and take other items to the dry cleaners. It was about then when scrubbing the bathtub I thought I think I need to intensify my job search and not be so picky. That evening as normal we sat on the enclosed deck and sipped wine. I told her that I had sent my resume into a couple of places that I heard was hiring. She looked at me with displeasure and told me that when I moved in we had discussed me not having to work and she really looked forward to coming home to a cleaned house with clothes and towels washed and put away. As a little bit of a lie I told her I was starting to run low in my savings account, but she said rather sternly that if I needed money to come and ask her and if it was sensible she wouldn't hesitate to give it to me. She laid a guilt trip on me about why I hadn't mentioned marriage since I had moved in with her. I really did love her and had just assumed it would end that way someday, so I explained that to her. She asked if I really was sure I wanted to marry her and I said sure. I was then surprised when she said she would book us a Caribbean vacation and we could just have a private wedding before we left. I had a voice inside of me saying I don't know if this is the smartest thing, but I didn't want to disappoint her, plus I didn't like confrontation with her and she really did treat me good. I was shocked when we came back from our honeymoon and opened the garage door only to find a shiny new red convertible Mustang. She smiled at me as I looked at it and asked me how I liked it and I told her it was very nice, but whose was it since she drove a newer BMW. She handed me the keys and said it was a gift to her new husband. Soon after our honeymoon we were at one of her friend's house visiting and her girlfriend told her she was lucky having a guy like me taking care of the house as her husband didn't help much at all. My wife told her it was the new age and many men were like wives used to be. She had just basically called me her wife. I felt a little emasculated and my mind started going over how she had slowly changed me to being more of the submissive one in the relationship. I complained one day to one of my guy friends about how I was feeling, but he told me I was crazy because I wasn't in an office taking orders from an unreasonable boss. He said I didn't know how good I had it. Now I am not sure, should I be grateful or have I just become the wife in our relationship? Yeah, I'm not reading all that. You got married already living off her money, seems fair for you to do more around the house. You need to decide how to be comfortable with your choices or you need to make new ones. I see no issue with the guy being the stay-at-home partner if that's what you both like. It in no way impacts your masculinity. Sounds like you wanted to be a sugar baby though. While nothing inherently wrong in this post, she does seem to talk down to you and that does give off an icky feeling. I guess just keep listening to a voice in your head and have an escape plan. When you're done cleaning for the day, keep your skills sharp. You are only a doormat if you allow yourself to be one. I get where you are coming from, as we all have grown up seeing the mothers and daughters taking of household works, which is why you feel emasculated. But truthfully, cooking and cleaning are skills if you removed us from gender roles. You can actually utilize your time by taking your Mustang for a ride or signing up for a hobby you wanted to do. Though you should communicate all of this to your wife, because this can turn things sour in your relationship. My 21F little sibling, 13M, is in an inappropriate group. Help? I don't even know if this is the right subreddit for this post, but I'm going to ask anyway because I'm getting very concerned. So for context, my little brother has only turned 13-year-old around 2 months ago. I'm not home. I moved out to study abroad. And he's alone at home with my parents, who aren't tech-savvy at all. Recently, while catching up with him through text, he randomly mentioned if I wanted to join his Discord server. At first I was amused. It's cute that he has a little online community, I did too at that age, but it was all people ranging from around 12–16. I assumed he had something similar. I jokingly said that, no, I'm too old to be hanging out with you raging General Zs, and he replied with, no, there's a lot of people a lot older than you there. Okay, weird. I asked him again sarcastically, how old? 40s? And he just nonchalantly says, yup. They're nice, and they don't talk like dad does. They even transfer me money for games. I pressed him again, getting concerned. I found that he's been in there for around 2 years, so since he was 10. With 40-year-olds. I asked again, how come you randomly wanted me to join all of a sudden? Honestly, the answer shocked me to my core. His friends thought I was hot. He sent a few pictures of me in there and they wanted him, my little brother, to hook them up with me, who he knows is in a long-term relationship. For what? More money, for games. If this isn't bad enough, while this isn't the best action to take, I impulsive joined the server and had to see what he has been exposed to, for 2 years. It was a group of 20, called, Cult of, username here, where the server owner referred to himself as their God, and there were these tiers such as, disciples, worshippers, slaves. Yes, slaves, I'll get to this later. I thought this was satire too, but hear me out. New members apparently start out as the lowest tier, slaves, and they basically get insulted and shit on. They rise up the ranks, the more they talked and were active in the server. The slaves actively gets called N-words. Yay. I'm not even going to get into more detail, but you can tell how disgusting it was in there. I left, almost immediately. They little brother got mad at me for embarrassing him, leaving the group so quickly before the person who liked me could even talk to me. I tried not to explode on him and explain how horrible that environment was, and that he should leave. He says he doesn't want to. He said he went as far as actively not making friends IRL because they're too boring. He has always been very nice and he was well-mannered. But now all of a sudden, I see that he believes in the hard right ideology, and we're not even American? He says that N-words don't bother him, so it's fine, no shit, because the slur is not directed to us. I'm honestly shocked. Shocked is an understatement. I'm about to call my mom to please check his phone to take care of it, but I know she's very tech unsavvy, and I know she honestly doesn't care much about his online endeavors, which is odd, because I always had my devices checked and monitored when I was younger. What do I do? I can't even get a hold of my brother because he's embarrassed of me apparently. He literally has changed his profile status thing to, libturds deserves the death penalty, and then has since chanved it to, women shouldn't have rights. I'm fucking mortified. Please help. What am I supposed to do in a situation like this? Should I only tell my parents, or is there more people I can report this to? Should I avoid ratting him and try to handle it between us first? Parents, immediately. Eerily similar. Tell your parents ASAP. 40-year-olds with 10-year-olds? That ain't right. Just denying him access or talking to parents won't do the trick. He's been exposed since 10, he's completely brainwashed. It will take time and effort to explain to him what is wrong with everything he learnt from this people. It will take patience and not just scolding. I've seen stories like this on Web of Lies on ID Discovery, and sadly the police do nothing until the kids leave to go meet these people in real life. Discord doesn't care and they know what is going on. Your parents need to stop letting him play games and need to stop him from being on Discord. But if he had a phone or tablet, he can download the app. You don't need to be playing a game to chat on there. I, 33 female, have no clue what my S.O., 37 male, does all day. It's finally hitting me that his daily life is a total mystery. He doesn't work, he seldom handles any chores, and he used to have a lot of hobbies but doesn't seem engaged with them anymore. I leave for work by 9, and take the dogs out before I go. He feeds them breakfast and lets them outside after I leave. I usually get home from work by around 6:30. Sometimes he's home, sometimes he's not. I almost always make dinner, do all of the grocery shopping, and in the evenings, I take care of the dogs. Sometimes he's not home until 9:10. When I ask about his day or what he's been up to or what his plans are for tomorrow etc., he gets defensive or gives short answers like, "Stuff." This used to be more of a contention point. If I tried to talk to him about his day or anything, he'd deflect or get annoyed, and I'd feel confused or sad. Now I don't push the issue, accept short answers, and find other things to talk about. I don't suspect that he's doing anything abnormal or cheating or anything, but I really just don't know what he does all day or what to do about it. We've been renovating a house for a year, but he hasn't started or completed a project for it in over 6 months. His family owns an apartment that he agreed to work on last year. Sometimes he'd say he was working at the apartment, and use that to explain not working at the house, but then it turned out that he was telling them the same story, but inverted. When I asked him what was up, he got really touchy. He's been unemployed for 5 years. He's currently covered in bug bites, by covered. I mean half of his back, and asked me to take a look this morning. He said he got them yesterday, and when I asked where, he replied, "In the woods." Opening parenthesis question mark question mark question mark question mark closing parenthesis. He was getting out of the shower when I got home today around 6 but hadn't touched anything in the house. Bed was still unmade, dishes around kitchen, a spill on the dining table. He seemed surprised to see me, muttered something, then got dressed and went to the basement. Maybe of note, not only are his days a mystery but his nights are as well. I'm usually in bed around 10:30, he doesn't come to bed until 2-4. Also, he's always on his phone. We compared screen times once and his daily average was over 14 hours a day. He had a lot of explanations about why that was inaccurate, but he's never shared it again. I know communication is typically the answer, but how do you improve communication in a relationship when one partner won't participate? The only thing he's actively doing is using you. Why is he not working? Why are accepting him doing nothing around the house? Sorry hun, but sounds like he's definitely doing crystal meth and overloading on internet porn. You have a teenager and not a it's mind-boggling to me when grown men can be so content with being loser wastes of space. I don't think that you should tolerate this mystery any longer. It might be some common enough problem. Maybe he's a drug addict, having an affair, a second family, maybe he is sitting all day in a casino. But seeing how evasive he is and how strange he is acting, how do you know it's not something worse? How do you know he's not a serial killer or rapist? I know it's a rather far-fetched possibility, but there are men who have done worse that have not acted as weird or secretive as your husband is acting. You cannot put up with this anymore. I would not even trust him to tell the truth if you gave him an ultimatum. I don't think you should continue this relationship, and I think you should be very careful in the manner in which you leave it. Best friend, 34F. Had secret friendship with my husband, 33M, for 2 years. So my, 37F, best friend of 15 years, 34F, and my husband of 8 years, 33M, have been having a secret friendship. Let me explain. So 2 years ago my friend came to stay with us. She is chronically couch surfing and has been doing so her entire adult life. Whenever my husband and I would have an argument, I would vent to her. She would never take my side, but rather run off to tell him everything I said and try to find parts of the story I embellished and then call me dishonest. I told her I did not like what she was doing. She moved out after a few months and I asked her to stop messaging my husband. She said okay. 2 years later, my sister, 34F, who is also friends with my friend, messaged me today and said, "She is not your friend. She talks to your husband, refuses to stop, and encourages him to leave you any time you have a fight." I don't mind my husband talking to her after an argument. I talk to his best friend sometimes. It helps us get perspective. But encouraging him to leave me is not what I would think a friend would do. But the last argument we had, I went to her to vent. She messaged my husband on Snapchat and told him to leave me. My husband is not attracted to her at all. She is not his type. But she told my sister that my husband has a crush on her and she won't stop talking to him. She also told my sister she thought I wouldn't mind someone talking to my husband since 15 years ago I dated for 1 month a guy who she liked. She said she only started messaging him because she doesn't like being told what to do. So today everything came out in the open. Everyone agreed it was wrong to hide a friendship from me. But my husband says the things she said to my sister about him were pure fabrication and he doesn't feel they can be friends anymore. She said she thought when I found out that he would be honest with me. I'm not sure what she was hoping would happen. I don't have a lot of friends, but I told her with friends like these who needs enemies. And to think I almost co-signed with her to be able to buy a house. If this was your friend, would you give her a second chance or cut her out of your life for good? Too long did not read. Best friend of 15 years caught in secret friendship with husband. Friend's reasons were nefarious, husband's were not. Friend still angry from stolen first date 15 years ago. Keep friend or ditch? You're acting like your husband is innocent in this and your friend is the problem when they both are equally to blame. He's the one talking to her happily while she openly tries to get him to leave you. Your husband is worse, he is married to you, you have a husband problem, you need to have a serious conversation with him. He fed that relationship with her, it wasn't one-sided. Your friend is not a friend, and why the hell would you want to keep that dumpster fires in your life? Secret friends are called affair partners in the real world. Your husband is cheating on you with your girlfriend. What in the bold and the beautiful did I just read? Ma'am, respectfully, what are you doing entertaining this level of disrespect? Both from your friend and husband. Drop them both. When someone shows you who they are, believe them. It's odd your husband concealed a friendship from you.